Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, we will be working on 2016 Gauss contest, grade 7, part A. Question 1. The value of 333 plus 33 plus 3 is, so this expression could be written as 333 plus 36, which is 369. Option D would be correct. Question 2. The graph shows the number of text messages received by Tanner in a given week. On what day did Tanner receive the most text messages? So we can see that on the y-axis, which is the vertical axis, it says number of messages received by Tanner. So we can interpret this graph by saying that the height of each column denotes the number of text messages received by Tanner. So if we take a look, that we can see that Friday, the column Friday has the highest height, which means that Tanner received the most text messages on Friday. Question 3. Which of the following is a multiple of 7? So we know that 77 is equal to 11 times 7. So 77 would be a multiple of 7. Question 4. Which of these fractions is larger than 1/2? So to do this question, we can simply write each option's denominator to a equivalent fraction that is equal to 1/2. So a fraction's numerator needs to be 2.5 if it wants to be equal to 1/2, and its denominator is 5. And we can see since 2 is less than 2.5, so this whole fraction 2 over 5 is less than 2.5 over 5, which means 2.5 is less than 1/2. And 3 over 7, so a fraction needs to have a numerator of 3.5 if it wants to be equal to 1/2 if its denominator is 7. And we can see since 3 is less than 3.5, 3 over 7 is less than 3.5 over 7, which means 3 over 7 is less than 1/2. And similarly, since 4 is greater than 3.5, so 4 over 7 is actually greater than 3.5 over 7, which means 4.7 is greater than 1/2. So C would be correct. Question 5. A cube has exactly one face painted as shown. The other 5 faces of the cube are not painted. If the cube is rolled, which of the following could be the same cube? So if we take a look at the original cube, we can see that the painted triangle touches one vertex of the cube and 2 edges of the cube. So A, apparently this area of triangle is way too big. For B, it does touch one vertex and 2 edges, so it seems like it's correct. Let's double check with the rest of the options. For option 3, the triangle touches one vertex and only one edge. And for both option D and E, we have 2 triangles which are not the original shape. So the answer would be B. Question 6. The measures of 2 angles of a triangle are 25 degrees and 70 degrees. The measure of a third angle is... So we know that the 3 angles in a triangle sums up to 180. So the 3 angles in this triangle must also sum up to 180. So if we want to find x, we simply need to do 180 minus 25 degrees minus 70 degrees, what would give us a 85 degrees. So it would be correct. Question 7. A box of fruit contains 20 apples, 10 oranges, and no other fruit. When a fruit is randomly chosen from the box, what is the probability that the fruit is an orange? So we know that the formula to calculate an event, the probability of an event, is number of favorable outcomes over number of total outcomes. So we can see that in this question, in this particular scenarios, the number of total outcomes will be the number of total fruits we have, which is 30. And number of favorable outcomes is we want to select an orange. So among the 30 fruits, 10 of them are oranges. So if we simplify this fraction, 10 over 30 would be equal to 1 over 3. Question 8. Alex pays $225 to take the bus. Sam pays $3 to take the bus. If they each take the bus 20 times, how much less would Alex pay than Sam in total? So for one time, Sam would pay $3 minus 225 equal to 70 cents, this much more than Alex. So if Sam takes the bus 20 times, he would pay 20 times 75 cents, which is $15 more than Alex in total. Question 9. Carrie is traveling at a constant speed of 85 km per hour. If Carrie is halfway through a 510 km trip, how much longer will the trip take? So if she's already halfway through the trip, the distance that she still needs to travel will be 510 kilometers times 1/2, which is equal to 255 kilometers. And we know that since distance is equal to speed times time, if we want to calculate the time, we need to use the distance divided by speed, which in this case, we would have a 3 hours of time left in the trip. So option E would be correct. Question 10. Points P, Q, and R are on a number line. Q is halfway between P and R. If P is at -6 and Q is at -1, then R is at. So if we draw a simple number line right here, we would have P here, R here, and Q right in the middle. So we know that P is at -6, Q is in -1, and we don't know R. So since these two distances, PQ and QR, are equal, so we can calculate PQ first, which would be equal to -1 minus -6, which would be equal to -1 plus 6, which is 5. And QR would be equal to PQ because Q is the midpoint, so 5. So R would be equal to Q plus 5, which would be equal to -1 plus 5, which would be equal to 4. Because again, PQ and QR are equal because Q is the midpoint and PQ is 5 as we calculated, so QR is also 5. And that's it for part A. Come back for part B of 2016 Gauss contest, grade 7. Thank you very much for watching.